YouTube tried to screw me over in my last video by disabling the comments, but now they are back again. Go say something nice about it. Also, both the first and third episodes of my Bloodthirsty Trilogy retrospective were taken down. I will be re-uploading this week. The Mysterians is a 1957 Toho tokusatsu movie directed by Guess Who and the first of the genre to be shot using the studio's patented Tohoscope format, itself just a copyright-infringed version of CinemaScope. As such, Toho set out to make a spectacle even larger than their previous Godzilla and Rodan, with a lot of colors and bright lights, as opposed to their more visually muted monster movies. But since my copy of the movie is pretty crappy, I'm not sure how much of it will come across in the video, so please keep that in mind. As opposed to those other films as well, this one was supposed to have a harder sci-fi edge, which in reality translates as an alien invasion story instead of another kaiju rampage. Not that it stopped them from inserting a giant monster in there, since Tomoyuki Tanaka thought the film needed one, which just served to give credibility to my theory that Rodan wasn't originally supposed to feature the titular monster. With all that in mind, it is no surprise that half of the movie's runtime is spent with colorful displays of pyrotechnics. The other half of it is basically the plot of The Day the Earth Stood Still, except the aliens are really horny. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The story begins with an investigation about an abnormal spike in radioactivity around Mount Fuji that leads to the appearance of a giant robot that looks like a cross between a penguin and a school play tree. Why, yes, but maybe we should try something higher caliber before jumping into conclusions. Except that doesn't work either. The only thing that stops the destructive power of the machine is a broken ankle from falling 20 meters off of a bridge. To drive home the point of how much of an afterthought was Mogera in this movie, after 10 minutes of pure havoc, he simply vanishes from the plot when defeated. Upon analyzing the debris of the metallic monster, it becomes clear to Japanese scientists that the thing did not come from Earth. If so, where did it came from then? The answer comes from below the ground in the vicinities of Fuji, looking like an overgrown zit. It's actually an alien dome, home to the ones who unleashed Mogera into the planet, the Mysterians. These Thunfront tsunami-looking visitors come from the asteroid belt located between Mars and Jupiter, formerly a whole planet they blew up not 20 years after building their first atomic weapons. As such, the aliens request a stretch of Japanese land where they could rebuild their civilization and effectively take control of the Earth, as they do not trust the planet with their own nuclear weapons. And since the radiation from their nuclear war has severely damaged the alien women's ability to generate healthy children, they do the most liberal move ever and threaten to destroy the whole world with their superior firepower if Japan doesn't give them a handful of Asian women to marry. Perhaps it wasn't actually the radiation preventing the aliens from properly procreating, and they blew themselves out of sexual frustration, which would make this film less of a hornier The Day the Earth Stood Still and more of a less zany sci-fi Doctor Strangelove. The government of Japan says that the aliens' request is bonkers and refuse it, prompting the Mysterians to show that the giant robot from earlier was far from the worst they could do. Cue another 10 minutes or so of sparks and explosions as the Japanese gets obliterated by the aliens. Now it's time for the serious and reflexive part of our video. When making this film, Ichiro Honda wanted to show how pointless was the difference between East and West that dominated the world during Cold War, and that we could all aim for mutual understanding and cooperation. And this desire becomes very evident in the movie's third act, As the Japanese realize they can't save their women from the Psycho Rangers without some serious help, so they plead the nations of the world to throw aside their petty difference and channel all their hatred towards those weirdos coming from a different place than us. Truly a message for our times, today and always. The United Nations then established the Earth Defense Force to fight the alien invaders, combining the technology and craft of the planet's top nations to assemble a fighting unit capable of standing to the Mysterian's superior firepower. More explosions as humanity deploys their biggest lasers to damage the alien dome, and I will eat my words! Mogera returns to... no, he's done again. The dome gets reduced to debris, and the Mysterians run away from planet Earth as fast as they can, having their already dwindling population reduced even further. So here it is. The movie with dream of peace and cooperation between different cultures ends with humanity driving a different species to the point of extinction. Our God Emperor would be proud. Okay, to be fair, the movie does stop to show the massacre of the aliens, so it's not like they completely dismissed the bloodshed. The Mysterians was actually Ishiro Honda's favorite work, certainly a surprise to most people, as it had nothing to do with Godzilla at all. That being said, this is a quite significant work from Toho's repertoire. Not only was this their first alien invasion story, which would become a staple of their other tokusatsu from then on, even the kaiju ones, but it was also the debut of Akira Watanabe in a more prominent role as an art director. The man would contribute to many of Toho's most charmingly corny visuals during their golden age of tokusatsu flicks, including the zillion environments and looks from Invasion of Astro Monster, which visibly derive from Watanabe's work at this movie, making the Mysterians quite a delight for me to watch, even with all its problems. Audiences certainly thought so, with the movie becoming a hit and even spawning a semi-sequel a couple years later, Battle in Outer Space. But the truth is that most of Toho's later films owe to this one in some way or another, either when displaying colorful pyrotechnics in glorious widescreen, or when indulging in absurd tales of techie aliens invading the planet. Or both. Next time? I don't know. It's almost the end of the year, so what do you want to see? Let's see if you guys have any good idea.
I do not avoid women, Mandrake. Yeah. But I do deny them my essence.
Yes.